Yes. Yes. And some people that I've helped get there, they say, "Oh, it's so uncomfortable. I don't know how it fits in, and my friends are changing, family's changing." And well, it's actually us that has taken that step into that freedom, and now we have to learn how to stay in it while others are still getting there, right? So,
And
yeah,
you go from being a participant to being a role model.
yeah,
That's a jump. For both of us, that's a jump.
yes,
But then you're like, oh, well, if I did it, and I'm not really anything all that special, I don't have a big red S on my chest either, then they can do it too. It's not impossible for any of us if we make the choice.
yep, yep, exactly. So this all within the Lion's Gate portal, right? And then some.
Yes, the Lionsgate portal and beyond.
Yeah.
Because we could look at this in a larger sense. And this year and next year are like Lionsgate portal for the entire time, and maybe even beyond that. This is the time of the huge transformation and change in the entire world, which means in each of us and all of us. And even in the physical world, I see it around me all the time in the plants. I'm looking out my window right now at an orange tree that's ripening. Ripening in August? And it's just amazing. You continue to hear my stories of how the plants and the animals around here, I see it every day. And you can see it in other um, societies, the more indigenous societies. Their wisdom keepers will tell you all about how it's changing. Everything is changing, and it is changing. It has to. And if the world, if the planet, if Earth, Mother Earth is changing, guess what? You're part of it. You're going to change too.
Yeah.
And if you don't change, you're going to become part of the past. And that's a
Yes.
choice. And you can
Yes.
do that if you want.
Yeah.
I'm just, to me, to be in this time and to know that I have chosen to be in this time, it's just fascinatingly amazing. It's just, it's so wonderful.
Hmm.
And I wish for everyone else that they could see this too and feel it. And those of you who do, you know what I mean.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. And I'm also finding it's not, obviously, it's not only within me, but raising a little one during this time, he's coming up with all sorts of things, and nervousness when he's unsure. And so up later or wakes up and gets us up or something like that. And his concerns are big. And I'm thinking, okay, well, what did we what did we read or what did we play or what did we watch that my mind's going 100 miles a minute as a conscious mom. Okay, well, where did this storyline come from? What has his little brain twisted or perceived in his own way to be this now? And last night it was harm coming to Dada and I. And he was concerned that something was going to happen. He had this intuition, he said. And so we talked to him and, you know, settled it, and we sat with him and we took him back into bed and cuddled and all this kind of stuff. And I did talk to him about feeling the world or feeling somebody else's stuff as opposed to feeling perhaps something of our own. So I taught him the dial thing. Okay, just think of, and I don't know how many houses have thermostats now with the old dial, but that's what I likened it to because grandma and granddad still have that. And so he he envisioned that, and I said, okay, so when you can ask the question, is this mine? Think about the dial first and turn it down just enough, and then ask yourself, is this mine, or is this somebody's that I need to tell? And just be curious. And so he's old enough, 9, almost 10ish, that it sunk in, but I do that for myself. So finding the tools, right, that help us through these miraculous and bumpy times really can help and save energy when we get to sleep more.
And having the support, if you don't have the support, find the support wherever you can, wherever you need to.
Yeah,
Find the support, because it is so important to
yeah.
have that. It's not possible for any of us to live in, quote, separation, because we
Mm-hmm.
never were separate and we never
Mm-hmm.
will be. And so that support, that togetherness, that just being part of the whole with other parts of the whole together is just, it's so important.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
And by the way, you and your son are so brave to be here now doing what you're doing at
Yeah.
this time. It's just, you're so brave.
Well, thank you for saying that. I think we all are, for being here. Like, really? This is when we decided to come. Okay, here we go.
Well, and especially Sky to come in at this time at that age. Wow.
I know.
And
Yep.
to, I know that he knows, or he did, I think he knows now, but I'm pretty sure that he knew before you, both of you chose to have him come in at this time, that they are the ones who are going to be changing and remaking the world. And
Yes.
and wow, just
Yeah.
wow.
I know. He and his friends have magical questions, and you're right. They ask, well, why is it done that way? And there are people around to say, well, this is why, without being judgmental. And then the kids go, well, that seems silly. And with Scott, my husband, and I have had conversations with Sky and some of his friends. And so they're already thinking on that level of, well, that's not the easy way, right? Or, but that hurts the earth. Or, all of these magical questions that,
That's not fair for other people.
right, right, exactly. Well, why do they look at him that way? Or why do they treat her that way? Or why are they not allowed this? And I'm just, I could be crying for for his whole upbringing if I really, because it's so heartwarming and yet devastating at the same time that it's still, these things are here and we're all growing up. Really. We're all still growing up.
Growing up in a very much larger, inclusive sense,
Yeah.
more like the entire world is moving from, and all of humanity, and maybe the earth too. I'm not sure about that one, but is moving from childhood to adulthood.
Mm-hmm.
We are now adults
Mm-hmm.
in the universal sense of things.
Mm-hmm.
And it's time for us to make adult choices, and choices on adult levels, not looking at it as children's toys or play. This is, you are an adult now. You are
Right.
responsible. Not only that, though, you also have a lot of the freedoms that you didn't when you were a child. And this is a collective kind of thing. If you
Mm-hmm.
look at all of us together as a single child, or what was a single child, which is now an adult. The single child, the single cells may not necessarily agree. A heart cell has a different purpose than a liver cell, than a blood cell, and they may have different ways of doing things. but they all have to work together as a whole. And that's where we're at now in the world. And this singular organism that we call people on Earth, and probably the Earth too, is now reaching its maturity.
Mm-hmm. I would love to just skip adulthood and go to elder stage, but you know, that's just me.
All stages are necessary and have their
I
benefits
know.
and their drawbacks.
I know. I know. Yes. And it's beautiful what you said. Of course, we need to go through that stage and all the while bring the freedom and the imagination of our childhood too. I think there's beauty in all of that, you know. It would be it would be neat to see city council problems being solved by 8-year-olds as well as 80-year-olds. So that'd be cool.
And 8-year-olds who have the minds of people who are much older, you know, and at the same time the creativity and
Yeah.
the newness, the freedom that they have as an 8-year-old,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, that'd be neat.
and yet understand the responsibility of the 80-year-old looking back saying, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Just like Mother Nature does to us sometimes. You know.
Yeah, and if we don't listen to her when she says, you know, the message gets a little stronger and a little stronger. And some of us, you know, we kind of have to face it, like, have to get like, you know, this is just a metaphor, not a, we have to have them beat her over the head a few times before it, oh, oh yeah, I guess I should do something about that.
Right. It's like the spiritual teachings. It'll keep happening in your life until you go and until not you go until you stop and have a glimmer of a new perspective,
Or
right?
until you choose to allow that glimmer to be more than just a glimmer and say, hey, I'm going to do something about this.
Yeah, all of that for sure. Yeah. Oh, fun conversation today.
Yes.
Solving the world's problems.
And at the same time, not saving the world at all.
Exactly. Yep. Being.
Being.
Mm-hmm. Exactly as we need to in any given moment. Hmm.
And thank you for this today. It's been a pleasure.
Yes. As always, it's so fun to just talk so freely. Love to you and everyone that gets to listen.
like, this is just a metaphor, not a, we have to have them beat it over the head a few times before it, oh, oh yeah, I guess I should do something about that.
Right. It's like the spiritual teachings. It'll keep happening in your life until you go and until not you go until you stop and have a glimmer of a new perspective,
Or
right?
until you choose to allow that glimmer to be more than just a glimmer and say, hey, I'm going to do something about this.
Yeah, all of that for sure. Yeah. Oh, fun conversation today.
Yes.
Solving the world's problems.
And at the same time, not saving the world at all.
Exactly. Yep. Being.
Being.
Hmm. Exactly as we need to in any given moment. Hmm.
And thank you for this today. It's been a pleasure.
Yes. As always, it's so fun to just talk so freely. Love to you and everyone that gets to listen.